Perfect.
All right, ladies and gents, we're ready to get started. So as you know, just before we begin, I'm just going to level that up because I feel like I'm tilted. That's better. I feel like I'm not on a ship now. So before we begin, just making sure your work area is clear, dry, nothing to slip with, nothing to trip on. Water to hand if you need it, which you probably will as we get going. So we're going to start in our set position. Nice strong posture to begin. Thinking about your shoulders, just turn your palms in and give your shoulder blades a little squeeze together. Now from here, just pulling the shoulders up and rolling them back and down. So you just want to release any tension across the top of the shoulders first. And to help do that, slide your hands right down your thighs, as if you're pulling your hands towards your knees. Little brace in your core, so you've got a nice strong posture. Drawing your belly button softly towards your spine, and then let the arms come a little bit higher. Just circling the elbows back. As you're pulling the elbows back, let your shoulder blades still pull down. And you get that feeling you're pulling your elbows in towards your rib cage. And that's going to pull your shoulder blades in towards your spine at the same time. Take a nice big breath in as you lift. The out breath as you pull down. Give me a couple more circles. And then from here, we're going to reach forward, wrists come together, and then pull back and open your chest. So a little tuck into the chin, and then squeeze back into the shoulders. Breathing in and out as you open. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And again, each time as you pull the arms back, you want to feel a nice stretch across the chest. And turn your palms up to the ceiling. That's going to pull the shoulder blades back more and open the chest even more. Okay, your last one here. And then this time you're going to bring the arms up and just drop them to your right and then over to your left. So let your arms just feel heavy. Try not to wrap the fingertips on the drawers. I did that the other day, it really hurt. Now give the bottom a squeeze. Keep your weight into your heels. Now keep the length up your spine and turn your head directly from one side over to the other. Once more to your left, and then continue with our twist, just wrapping from side to side. Now again, keep the hips still. Keep pulling the crown of your head up to the ceiling, so the more you open up the spine, the easier it is to rotate, and you find that you can probably rotate a little bit further. We're going to add in a side step. The next time you wrap to your right, you're going to step across and then back. Step across and then back. And as you step back, chest nice and high. And as you step to the side, turn the head. When you come into the front, just heels into hips, shoulders and hips square. A little wider whenever you're ready. And once more. So your last step to your right, and then we go over to our left. So you're going to step and turn. And again, nice and small. You don't have to go too wide on the step, but you're trying to keep your right foot flat on the ground. And then you're starting to use your right leg to pull yourself back into the centre. Turn the head, glance over the shoulder. So we're getting lots of release through our neck as well as through our spine. A couple more this way. And then stay in the centre. Tandem stance, right in front of your left. Soft through both knees, and you're just going to bring the arms to shoulder height. Draw the tummy in and just scissor the arms. Now when you're starting to move your arms, you're trying to keep the spine still again. So that's where our core comes in. Keeping your core nice and strong to keep everything nice and still. Now if the arms start to bend, just don't take the arms as high. Try and keep the arms nice and straight. Let your weight sit evenly into both feet. And a couple more each side, so getting lots of movement through the shoulders. And on your last one, you're going to stop your arms in line with your shoulders and bring your left foot forward. Balance your weight again. And all we need to do now is just close your eyes and not fall over. So gently draw the tummy in, feel your weight's balanced. And then see if you can start to move your arms again. If you don't like having your eyes closed, open them up. But you'll feel that when you close your eyes, taking away that visual feedback, everything shakes and wobbles a little bit more. So you have to again engage from your core, lengthen up through the spine, Keep your weight even in both feet. And one more each side. And then you get to rest in the centre. And then open your eyes. And we're all still standing, hopefully. Bring your hands down to your thighs. Okay, your right leg steps forward. You're going to lift both arms. Now from here, you're going to pull the arm back, reach to the back of the room, and come into centre. I did that completely wrong. We're going to step back, open the arm, and then step in. So your right leg back, open, and then step together. Keep the hips square to the front. So when you step back, you're keeping the back heel lifted. You're just resting lightly on your toes. And you're keeping most of the weight into that front heel. 2 more on this side. Pull the shoulder blade back into the spine. Once more. And then change legs. Left arm, left leg. I lost my balance. So keep the weight into the front heel. Keep the front knee soft. And again, a little squeeze at the bottom. And a squeeze back into the shoulder here. 3 more. Keep the back heel off the ground. Just lightly tap your toe. Once more. And then rest. Hands come down. Feet outside the hips. We're going to do a squat with a little twist today. So your knees in line with your toes. Press your knees gently out so you switch on your outer thighs. You can come down to a squat, lift the arms, and then reach the right thigh, and then over to your left thigh. Now you're trying to make sure the hips sit back. You're still keeping the chest nice and lifted. And you're always keeping your weight even between both feet. Then a little bit of work for the calves, so you can lift your heels, drive the hips back, and then squeeze the bottom to drive your hips forward. Now keep the neck nice and long, and just turn your eye gaze to the side. Press through the balls of your feet, and pull up through your calves. And give me 2 more on each side. So 4 squats left in total. And don't fall. And then rest into the middle. Let's find a lunge. Let's step our right leg back. Feet hip distance apart. Hands on your hips and square your hips until that front knee sits over your heel. Just a lunge. We're going to lower down and up. Now I just want you to focus on keeping the front knee still. Bend into the back knee. So your shoulders, your hips and your ears stay in line. Then you can circle the arms. Lift them up and then pull the shoulders down. As you press out that front heel, give your bottom a little squeeze. And as you lower your back knee, keep tucking under your tailbone so we get that stretch to the front of the hip. Once more. And then change sides. So bring your right foot forward, take your left foot back. Again, you might feel the hips twist, so just square them first of all. Tuck under the bottom, relax the shoulders, just the back knee. So when you're lunging, you always notice that you're moving directly down and then straight back up. Sometimes we tend to rock backwards and forwards. This is going to work your legs more and stretch the hips more. And then for more, lift the arms and then pull down with the shoulders. Breathing in with a lift, out to rise. Push out the front heel on the way up. Bend the back knee on the way down. So you can allow that back knee to go a little deeper for more stretch, but don't force it down. And one more. All up, and then step together. Let's see how our balance is this morning. Single leg lunge. We're going to stay with our right leg. So that comes forward. You can have your right leg straight, left knee nice and soft, and your hands just on your hips. We're going to focus on our hip stability. We go back into our squat. We draw the tummy in. We're going to tap to the front and then rise up. When you go into the squat, always make sure the hips go back first. Keep the belly braced and the hips still as you tap out to the side. Now, you've got that length in your neck. You've got your shoulder blades gently drawn back and down. Now you're thinking about your standing knee. As your right leg moves, you're trying to keep the left knee nice and still. Now you don't have to go too far. You can just work with the balance, tapping out to the side. And you can even stay upright if you don't like the squat and just work with the leg. But if you do like the squats and you want to make them harder, we're going to open the opposite arm and then push up through the heel. So again, hips back, chin nodded in. And again, you can just stay here and work with the opposite arm and the opposite leg, just moving out to the side. We're going to do 2 more of the squats. Gently pressing the left knee out towards your little toe. And then push up through the heel. So you should feel your bottom working. Let's try the other side. Left leg, hands on the hips, square the hips first. Try not to have your left foot in front of your right. Keep them hip distance apart. Just with the hips, push back as if you're going to sit down. And then realise that's just wishful thinking. And push out of your heel as you rise back up. Now as you come forward, you might feel that your back starts to round. And that gives you that feeling you're getting lower. I want you to focus on keeping the shoulders together. Even if you don't go as low, that's fine. You're just thinking about pushing the weight back into the bottom. Add the leg out to the side. Little tap, tap, and then rise. Got to make sure the hips move first, so it puts the weight, the work into the bottom, and then when you rise, you squeeze your bottom to get the hips under the shoulders. Remember, you can just stay in that upright position and just tap your foot out to the side and back in. If you find the squats difficult, that's going to still work your balance, but again, options come a little harder. Think about the stability through your right knee. So that right knee gently rolling out towards a little toe so it doesn't collapse inwards. And that's going to give you a lot more stability right down the outer thigh and right in towards the knee. Squeeze the bottom. Now let's start to also squeeze the shoulder blades together more when we rise. Pull the hands back. Breathe in, out to open. Breath in, out to rise. 2 more. So we've got our balance. It's there. And it's ready to work. Okay, stay in the centre and just step your feet together. Grab one of your weights. So you're just going to have the weight in the left hand. Work out which one it is. Roll the shoulder back. Draw the tummy in. Now from here, we're just going to bring the arm and the leg out to the side. You're going to keep your left knee slightly soft. And you're just thinking about your upper body, making sure you don't tip across the side. So you have a little tuck under with the tailbone. You're breathing out through the mouth as the arm comes no higher than your shoulder. Now just watch the shoulder. You don't want your shoulder to come up to your ear. That's why we sit the shoulder blade back and down first. So the muscles we use are on the top of the shoulder rather than the ones into the neck. So lengthen away as you lift. Try and keep equal space between your ribs and your hips. And then breathe out through the mouth. And give me 2 more here. And then we're going to add a little hamstring curl. So bring your weight to your shoulder now. You're going to lift the leg. And you're going to bring your heel to your bottom as you press up to the ceiling. So from the front, your heel just slides back. Keep pulling up through the chest. Just relax your left knee a tiny bit. Try not to tip off to the side. Keep pulling up through the crown of your head. And again, you don't have to lift too high. You can just lift your foot and lower. Or you can just stay with the foot lightly on the ground. Keep the balance through the standing leg. Breathe out on that push. Just 1 more. And then bring it all back down. Shake the left leg. Shift into your right leg. Set the shoulder. Draw the belly in. So again, you've got a little tuck under the bottom. Equal space here, so we're not tipping through our spine. So if you keep the hand on the hip, you'll notice that the hip then doesn't move as much. Or it gives you that little feedback and you'll be aware if the hip lifts. If your hip lifts, your t-shirt will wrinkle. If it's not lifting, you should stay quite still there. Now just reset that shoulder blade, glue it down the back of your rib cage. Relaxing through your right knee, lengthening up towards the top of the head. Just be aware you've still got your chin tucked in and you haven't let the head come forward of your shoulders. Trying to keep that height. Ready to add on? This time you're going to hold at the bottom, bend your elbows so your knuckles are pointing to the ceiling and your foot out to the side. Breathe in. As you breathe out, heel comes back and a breath in as you lower. Still not allowing your t-shirt to wrinkle, so pulling that hip down. Lost my rhythm now, there we go. Now again, you might feel that you've locked out your right knee to make it easier. Try and just gently soften the knee joint. That's going to make the muscles around the knee work a little bit harder, as well as the muscles through your hips, through your glutes. And 3 more. Out through the mouth, in through your nose. Tucking in the chin. Once more. And then step in. So that's all the muscles through the outer thighs working. Now you can grab your second weight. A little bit more work for balance, but you get to keep both feet on the floor this time. We're just going to simply step our right foot forward. Take the left leg back. Now we're not going to a lunge, we're going to straighten our back leg. And we want to create a line from our heel to our head. So you don't want to keep the shoulders above the hips. Now once you're here, you're going to make sure those shoulder blades pull together and slot into the back of the ribs. And you can do alternate arm raises. Now your weight is in your right heel. You're not gripping the floor with your toes. So just as you lift, press the heel into the floor. Breathe out as you lift the arm. And it's that breath in as you ease it down. Strengthen that back leg so it's really strong. Now you can try and turn your head. It'll make you want to wobble more. Just makes you have to work harder. Breathe out on that lift. Slow breath in to ease down. Keep pressing down through that front heel. Just one more each side. Knee gently pressing out towards your little toe. And then you're going to change sides. Step forward. Change your legs. Oh, without falling over. So take a step back again with your opposite leg. Just trying to work out which that one is. So it's your left leg back. I've gone back with my right this time. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Into the heel, make sure the knee's not forward over your toes. Lengthen, draw the belly up. And then again, just into single arms. Squeeze that back thigh. So it's a nice straight leg this time. Now see if you can push your body weight a little further forward, but keep the knee over the heel. So you're almost pushing off onto your big toe. You're pressing down to that front heel. Press a little firmer as the arm lifts. Draw the belly up towards the back. And try and turn the head. Don't rush. If you find it too wobbly turning the head, then just keep the head still. You might have to move a little bit slower as you turn with the head. But still aware that you're squeezing your shoulder blade in towards the back of the ribs. One more on each side. Not gripping with your toes. Weight into that heel. All the way to the end. And then you can step in. And shake your legs. Reset your shoulders. Weights in front of your thighs. And we're just going to do a row. So as we come into our row, we hinge forward from our hips as if you're going into a squat. So the bottom goes back. Then you're going to pull the elbows out to your knees and rise up. You're going to breathe in, out, in, out. In through the nose, out through your mouth. In. So you're always breathing out with the effort. The effort is to pull the weights wide, and then the effort is to stand back up. Now let's feel the shoulder blades crushing together at the top, as if you're trying to get them to touch your spine. Now from here, you can either stay with this movement, or we're going to add in our lunge and a little bit more lift. So stay there if you need less. If you're all right, we're going to take our right leg back. We'll just do 8 on each side. We're going to say 6 then, we're going to be kind. So we're going to go into our lunge. We're going to lower our back knee. Then you're going to tip forward and bring the arms wide. If you don't want to bring the arms wide, once I've got my balance, you can come into that row. So let's start from here. Bend your back knee. Tip forward. Bring the arms out. Or bring the elbows out. Breathe in as you lower down, shoulders above the hips. And then breathe out with that lift. Halfway, 4 more. Keep the feet hip distance apart as you come down into your lunge. Last 2, team. And 1 to finish. Stay here, lower the arms. Just lower your back foot and then lift. So you can take the opposite arm forward. And we're only going to do 8 here. As you bring the arm forward, it's just in line with the shoulder. You don't have to work with the leg. You don't have to work with the arm. 2 more. And then step in. Bet you're ready for a lie down soon. Let's change sides, so taking the opposite leg back. Start with a nice long step. Roll back with the shoulders. Little tuck under the bottom. Back knee sinks. Tip forward and fly. Fly away. Breathe in. Out as you tip. Again, option to bend the elbows, so you bring your elbows out wide, and that takes a little bit of strain out the back of the shoulders. So you're still coming back into that wide V. Again, remember it's a full lunge at the back, so your shoulders are above your hips. You don't have to lift that back foot. You can just tip. 2 more. And then we're going to hold. Bring your weights down. Lower your leg. Lift. Then if you want to add the opposite arm. If you're lifting the opposite arm, your palms facing inwards. So it's as if your thumb is going up to the ceiling. Breathe out on the lift. Relax your standing knee. And 1 more. And then you get to step in. And you get to shake your legs again. Then we're going to go back to squats. So the feet are outside the hips, your shoulders are set back. Squat with a bicep curl. So you're going to push your knees out wide. You're going to curl and twist towards your shoulders. Sit the hips back, turn into your thighs, and then turn into the shoulders. Squeezing the bottom as you rise. Breathing in as you sit back. And try and be aware that you've not allowed your back to round as you come forward. And keep the chest up. Back nice and long. And you need to make sure the hips move back, so you load your glutes. And then once they're loaded, you squeeze your glutes to drive up. Now bring your weights in this time so they stay facing towards each other, and then press towards the ceiling. So your shoulders, hips back, brace, and then extend. Think about your core, so don't let those ribs flare. Now try and lift your heels as you press. Breathe in, out and press. And again, as you lift the heels, try not to let the ankles roll apart. And again, just don't rush, keep it nice and controlled. It's all about keeping good technique. And keep that chin nodded in. Elbows by the ribs as you come down into your squat. And give me 2 more to the top. We're going to stay with the shoulders and our calves. So from here, we're going to take it to single arm presses. Hold down. Right arm, then your left arm. You're going to try and bring your elbow just in line with the shoulder. Bracing your core on the extension. Keeping the knees soft. And just roll it onto the balls of the feet. Trying to pull those heels right up off the ground. 2 more each side. If your shoulders are starting to fatigue, you can just work with the heel lifts. Last one. And then bring it down. Release. Let's do our windmills while we're here. If your shoulders are really fatigued, you can put the weight down in your left hand and just use the weight in your right. Your feet about shoulder width apart, and turn your right foot to about 5 to the hour. If you feel your hips turn to the right, just square them back up to the front and then push it over to the left. Your left elbow without your weight at 90 degrees. Let this arm just hang, so no tension in your shoulder. We're going to stretch into the waist and then pull the shoulders back above the hips. Using the in-breath as you ease down. Use the out-breath as you rise and bring your shoulders right back above the hips. Now, if you give your thighs a little squeeze, that's going to help to keep the legs still. And then we're going to focus on our waist more. Relax the right shoulder. Pull your ribs towards your hips. So keep going there. So as you bend, you feel the ribs move away from the hips. If you keep the hips still, you've got to use those muscles to pull the ribs back towards the hips. So again, the more the legs and the hips stay grounded, they're your anchor, and then use your waist muscles to pull yourself back up nice and tall. Give the tailbone again a little tuck under. And keep the ears in line with the shoulders. If you can, just stretch a tiny bit further, but don't force it. Just feel how that loads your waist a little bit more. And just makes that a little bit harder to pull back up. Let's have 2 more here. Breathing in as you ease down, and then breathing out with your eyes. One last one. Exhale and lift. And change sides. So again, you can have both weights. You can let your right shoulder have a rest. Left foot, about 5 past the hour. Forgot that the right way around. Push the hip over to the right. Slot your shoulder blades into the ribs so you feel like your chest is open to begin with. Then draw your tailbone under and belly in. And then breathe. Use the out breath and rise. So you're trying to fully extend both arms. And you feel how that again, that stretches through your waist a little bit more. Notice how still your hips are. So if you've been set in concrete from your hips and below, there's no sway of the hips. And again, you're working to find the stretch between the ribs and the hips on your right hand side. And you're physically using those muscles to pull those ribs back straight down towards your hips. So let's use the breath more. Pause. Use the out breath when you're ready to lift. So if you remember, we're always breathing out with the effort. And that's because when we breathe out, it engages our deeper muscles to force the air out. And then that helps to engage our core and give us a stronger foundation for our lift. So there's a method to the madness. Breathe in, stretch. A little bit deeper if you can. Pull the ribs back in towards the hips. And give me 2 more here. It's a nice stretch at the same time. There's a little bit of shoulder work. And then your very last one. And you can rest. Bring the weights down. Bring your feet in. Let's work our way down to the floor. Keep both your weights to hand. As we come down to the ground, we get to rest for a little while. But not for too long. Once you've worked your way down to the floor, we're going to work with our triceps and our bridges. So your feet are hip distance apart. Normally when we have our feet down, we have quite a big space here. We want to get the heels further back towards the bottom so they're in line with your knees. That's going to make the glutes work more for the hip extension, and it keeps the tension out of the hamstrings. The shoulders want to be drawn back, pressed into the floor so you've got a nice base. We're going to push the hips up, tricep press with both arms, and then you can lower the elbows and the hips. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Push through both heels. Now you're trying to get your elbows pointing towards your knees and your weights just brushing past your ears. Now when you're at the top of your bridge, just squeeze the bottom just before the arms go back. And try not to allow your back to arch. So you don't want to feel like here you've really flared up through your ribs. You're still trying to come back into that neutral position, and you're holding that neutral position as you work into your triceps. Let's do 4 presses this time at the top. So squeeze the bottom, breathe in and lower, out to push. In through your nose, out through the mouth. Just bend in from the elbows. Once more, keep this squeeze in the bottom, and then lower the hips. And again, up. Keep the weight even through both feet. You might find your weight goes into your stronger leg. So if your right's your stronger, try and press your left heel down a little bit more. Squeezing both buttocks, and then easing back. 2 more sets. If it's too much with 4 tricep presses, just work with 1 and come back down to the ground and stay with those single sets. Okay, we've got 1 more set. Squeeze your bum nice and strong. Breathing as you ease it down, out with the lift, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Press the heels down. Squeeze the bottom for your last one, and then gently release. You can get rid of one of your weights now. From here, again, your option is to keep both feet on the ground. A little bit harder is we're going to work with the opposite arm and leg. So you can have your weight in your right hand. If you want to, you can just lift your left heel so the toes on the floor for some stability, or you can have your left knee above your hip. Again, a nice strong base through your shoulders. We're going to start at the top. We're going to extend the hips, and this is our start position. We're going to breathe in, lower the hips and bring the arm out to the side, and then breathe out, come back into the centre. Now again, you can keep your foot resting on the ground, but you're just going to push through the heel that's on the floor. Use the out breath on the lift. In breath to ease down. And again, as you rise, it's a squeeze through the bottom. Press into the backs of the shoulders. We've got 2 more to do. Now you can rest your bottom on the floor, or you can stay at the top of the bridge, and we bring it back to triceps. We add in a leg extension for 8 and in 7. Option to rest on the floor and just extend the leg. So again, you're still working with the opposite arm and leg. We're keeping those hips nice and high. Breathing out to push the foot forward. Breathing into centre. I'm probably doing a better job of counting than I do. Once you have done your 8, you get to lower everything back down. Bring your left foot down. Lift your right heel or your right knee and take your weight into your left hand. So from here, I'll do it from a slightly different position so you can see better. Shoulders are into the ground. Lift up to start with, so hips, knee and shoulder in line. And then from here, you lower your hips and your arm. And then you push back up through the bottom. You're keeping this knee directly above the hip, so your shin's parallel to the ceiling. You can let your opposite arm come out wide, so that helps to give you a little bit of stability. Slow in breath as you ease down. Now keep the elbows soft as you lower the arm, and keep the weight in line with your heart so it doesn't come up by your head. And a big push into the heel. Feel that you're physically squeezing your bottom to drive the hips up. Easing them down. Big squeeze up. Into your triceps this time. So you're going to hold here. You're going to extend the leg and bend the elbow at the same time. Breathing in, out to reset. And again, if you're down on the floor, you can just rest your hips down. Still working with a single arm and leg. And for your last 4 at the top, when you extend your leg, try and get your thighs parallel. Really squeeze into that left leg. And 2. 1 to finish. And then gently, don't rush, ease back down. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. I know it hurts. It hurts me too, if that makes you feel any better at all. Have a roll onto your side. Plenty of time for a bit more torture. So let's come to our clams. So again, we've got lots of focus around the hips. And again, it's all good for hip stability. And once you get more stability through the hips, it does give you more stability and strength through your spine too. It's a little bit more method to our madness. I'm not just cruel. So push your hip away from your rib Now you might feel your knees here are staggered, so your top knee might be further back. Gently push your hip forward so the knees are directly stacked. And again, when you're lying here, if your hip collapses, it'll wrinkle your t-shirt. So as you push your hip away, you're trying to keep that length in your waist. And it's a nice little lift at the knees. Starts nice, it doesn't end that way, I'm afraid. But let's layer in our breath. So the out breath with the effort. As you breathe out, pulling your tummy button through towards your spine. Trying to make sure the knees stack at the bottom. Now again, just give that tailbone a little tuck under. That's going to help to keep the pelvis still. So all the lifting then comes from those out thigh muscles. And if you do tend to let your knees roll in a lot, these muscles get a little bit weaker. So again, this gives us more knee stability as well. See, it's super kindness. I think there's only me finding it funny, isn't there? Oh well, I can't hear your complaints, so we're all right. Let's add on just the leg extension at the top, so you can keep the knee open, keep this part of the leg still, just extend and tap your toe. So all you're trying to do is not move the upper part of the leg. You're just physically squeezing through the front of your thigh, just straighten your leg. Still making sure the hip hasn't moved up towards the rib. And you're breathing out to extend. And a slow breath in to close. 3 more. What shall we add in next? Not a rest. Hold your leg here, draw it back, scoop your knee down. So it just comes above your opposite knee, push your heel and then point your toe. So again, push your heel and then point your toe. And that little bit of extra work as you push through the heel and point into the toes, more ankle stability. A little bit more pain, but lots more ankle stability. Find that breath. Breathe in as you pull in, out to push. Lengthen the leg. Make it longer. Give me 2 more. We're feeling it again? Not sure if you are, so let's go back to our clams. Lower the knees and lift. And again, breathe out. How many people are shouting at the TV screen right now? Let's just do 5 of each. So you're going to open the knee and hold at the top. Keep the stability here. And just a 5 and back. 4, slowly. 3, breathe out. Hold it here. Bring it back, just in line with your shoulder. And pull. Down. Point. Make your leg longer every time you push it away. Just 2. Hold it on the extension and come down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Should we ever go on the other side? Gently roll over when you're ready. This leg will always feel a little bit harder because while you've been working that top leg, this leg's been working to stabilise. It's not because it's heavier, it's just because it's already done a little bit of work. So again, checking on the knees, make sure they're not staggered. Hand onto the hip, you can push the knee forwards, they're stacked, feet are stacked. No wrinkly t-shirts, so push the hip away. Tuck under your tailbone, breathe in. As you breathe out, open the knees. So once you feel you've got the stability through your hips, then start to think about your ribs. As you open the knees, you might find that your ribs want to flare forward a little. That's going to take you out of neutral position. So again, we get a little bit of work through the upper abdominals by holding the rib cage still. You're breathing out through the mouth and in through the nose as you close. Still keeping the hip away from the ribs. That extra squeeze at the top, breathe out. As you breathe out, pull your tummy button in. And give me 2 more. And then you're going to hold. This doesn't move. You're just going to squeeze your thigh and then tap your feet together. So when you look at your knees, they should be stacked the whole way through. Ribs still not flaring forward as you extend the leg. You can keep your hand on the ground, just let it rest on the hip. but try to make sure you've got no tension to your neck or your shoulders. I've got a habit of lifting my head so I can watch you all suffer. I think anybody's finding it funny today, though. One more time. Hold your leg out straight, pull it back so it's in line with your hip, scoop the knee forward, pull a little bit higher, and then push through the heel. Breathe in, so it's a nice big sweep up. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Drive the heel away, stretch into your toes at the top, sweep the leg up, a little higher if you can. So that gives you a stretch on the inner thighs at the same time as working those outer thighs. Ready to go again? We come back to our clams. So you're going to bend your knee, knees lower and lift. Ribs not pushing forward, tailbone still tucked under. A little bit of heat coming in the outer thigh, and then hold at the top, squeeze the front of your thigh, extend and just tap lightly. Breathe out. So again, you're trying to control the movement rather than trying to fling the leg and get momentum. That makes everything work so much harder. And hold it here. Pull it back in line with your shoulder. Sweep it down. In through your nose. Out and lift. So you might have a pain in the bum for a few days, but it will ease. And one more time. Hold it here and come down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Should we stretch those out? Take a roll onto your back. And as you roll onto your back, just let your head rest. Lift up your right leg, place it onto your left thigh and just give the knee a little push forward. To deepen the stretch, you can bring your hands behind your left thigh and gently hug the knee in. Let the shoulders just sit into the floor. So you can gently ease that knee back in. Just allow it to rock gently. Not forcing it, but just feeling as that left knee rocks backwards and forwards. Brings a little bit more stretch through the outer thigh and the hip. One more time. And change legs. Left leg over. Again, nice and level with the hips. You can just gently hold the knee here, so you're stretching through the hip. But make sure your right buttock hasn't lifted off the floor, so press the right hip down. So your pelvis stays nice and level, and then the muscles attached there can get a better stretch. Take the hands behind the thigh if you want to take that deeper. You can gently hug the knee in, or just allow it to rock. Just easing in and out of that stretch. Like a little massage for your well-worked bottoms. And 3 more. And 1. And then rest your feet down. Take a roll over, come onto your hands and your knees. Hands are under the shoulders, knees come in under the hips. Just a little tuck under your toes. Push the hips back and straighten into your legs. As much as you can, encourage your heels to the ground. Press your chest towards your thighs. Push both hands into the floor and make your arms really strong. And then just give your feet a little walk out. Just alternate the heels. One knee bends, opposite heel lifts. Pushing your knees forward towards your chest. And roll right through your foot. So as you push the heel down, you lift your toes. And a couple more. And then you can step it in, springing back to life. Heels under your hips, allow the head to hang. Pull your belly up high, tuck in your chin. When you're ready, just a slow restack through your spine. Knees are soft, head lifts, and the shoulders get to roll back and have a release. And just finish with a wrap. Let the head and shoulders turn. Don't let the hips go, you're still squeezing the bottom. Hips stay facing forward. We're not twisting through the knees. And 1 more each side. And then you can rest. You can lift your hands. Definitely give yourself a clap for that one today. Very well worked, ladies and gents.